Chapter 10. Arrival.
They had beaten Ashley. They had even taken a roundabout way through some remote canyons to pop out behind the army of newly converted vampires. Theraint was parked just outside of Wendover. Ashley had decided to take the I-80 East route into the Salt Flats. Even though it was a longer drive, it was much more remote, therefore hopefully giving them safe passage and some element of surprise. Theraint saw the lights of Ashley and the other vampires as the sun sank below the horizon. He hopped out in front of the masses of cars and trucks. The Salt Flats always looked barren, but in the dead of winter, with snow blowing around, it looked like a wasteland. "That's Theraint," Tricia said. "It is," Nathan said. He had been frightened to his core when Taylor was not with them. But when Theraint had left also, he had begun to lose hope. Now he nodded his head to the SUV in front of them. Amy smiled. She, on the other hand, had never lost faith and almost seemed happy. Well, not happy, but understanding that this was the right place for her to be. Her life had been a jumble of events. She had always wondered what her reason was. However, now she felt she had a direction, and she belonged. Theraint's SUV blinkers started going. Theraint pulled off when they were within visual distance of Renard's giant army. He stepped out of the SUV and Ashley, Tricia, Amy, Nathan, and Austin ran up to him. "You made it," Ashley said, hugging him, obviously relieved. "Yes, we did," Theraint said with a smile. "We?" Tricia asked as she gave him a quick hug as well. "Yes, please meet our new friend, Tyos," Theraint said. The passenger door of the SUV popped open, and Tyos stumbled his way out. He stood up to full height, and there was a collective breath of surprise from all the vampires. Tyos looked at them, but suddenly turned and started throwing up next to the SUV. The werewolf had become carsick. Theraint ran over, but Tyos had already recomposed himself. "You all right?" he asked. "Yes, I am now," he said, and he turned back to the group of vampires. "I apologize. I am Tyos. Which of you is Austin?" Tyos said. Austin walked up in awe of the giant wolf. "That's me," he stuttered with some fear. Tyos gave a toothy grin. "Thank you for helping my family," Tyos said, and clapped him on the back. Austin smiled up. "Theraint, your friends are acting like they've never met a werewolf before," Tyos joked. Theraint let out a small chuckle. "Yes, well, they are young." It was very clear throughout the drive and now that Theraint and Tyos already understood each other very well, and they were fast becoming friends. They all worked setting up some sorts of a command center in an RV. There were many reactions to Tyos, however, he was quickly accepted into the inner circle. They were standing outside the RV. Tricia handed Theraint and Tyos a cup of coffee. The wolf took a drink. "Thank you," Tricia smiled at him. "There are so many of them," Tricia said. They're just vampires," Tyos snorted. He smiled, and Theraint almost spit out the coffee he had in his mouth. The three of them laughed, not because they had any misgivings about the battle before them. Tricia smiled. "You know, Furball, I think you're going to fit in just fine with us," Tricia said with a laugh. "Thank you, Mosquito. It's nice to be part of something. I have been alone for a long time," Tyos shot back with a smile. Tricia shot him a look, but busted into a smile. It felt good to smile again. Over the last few days, she had very little reason to. She smiled, thinking about Taylor. She could not wait to see his face when he saw Tyos. Tyos had already brought one very important thing, confidence, and all the vampires felt it. As they departed from California, they had seemed hopeless, and when Tyos and Theraint had rejoined them, the mood and morale lifted 100%. She had walked through and heard many of them talking about the amazing wolf. Although they still realized they were facing overwhelming odds, Tyos had brought what Taylor had brought in the battle for LA, hope. She looked at the fires burning in the distance. Their camp seemed much smaller. "I hope it's enough," she thought to herself. They tried to get some rest because one thing was for sure, all hell would soon turn loose. It was late and the wind whipped the snow around. Tyos stood looking at the fires of the other camp. Theraint walked up next to him. There are many, Theraint conceded. I was looking at the salt flats, actually. I have not been here. There are many places my race is unable to go, Tyos said. Maybe you can give them that, Tyos, Theraint said. How could I ever do that? Tyos asked. Well, we will find out after this war is over, Theraint replied. He smiled and put a hand on the wolf's shoulder. We? Are you sure? Tyos asked. Positive. Thank you for coming here. You have given a great deal already, Theraint said. Tyos smiled and he looked back toward the battlefield. He thought of his sister. You would never believe where I am, he thought to her. Theraint was not happy their opponents were such young vampires, most converted without much choice, and now forced into a war. Who knows what they were telling them, but they were not horrible people / vampires. They were just caught in a bad situation. Humanity is not lost to vampires, and Theraint dreaded the death that would soon come, not only for his own, but for the thousands of pawns. Theraint would do what was needed to destroy Renar, but this step he took with a heavy heart. The winds whipped and the sun began to creep into the sky.